Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam wa sallallahu kareem Nabina Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. We have a couple of ayats from the Quran, and in these ayats you can see how pompous, how arrogant shaitan is, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning the statements of shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this surah, Surah Isra, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. And when we said to the malaika, the angels, to prostrate to Adam, they prostrated, all of them, إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ, except for Iblis. That's shaitan. Now shaitan, he says قُلْ أَرَأَيْتَ قُلْ أَأَشْتُرِ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. Shaitan, who was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, should I prostrate to who you created from clay? And then he says, قال أرأيتك هذا الذي كرمت علي لئن أخرتني إلى يوم القيامة لأحتنكن ذريته إلا قليلا. He says, have you seen who you have given honor over me, that if you delay me until the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, until the day of resurrection, that I would destroy his offsprings, destroy his progeny, except for a few. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies back to this pompousness, this arrogance, and he says, اذهب فمن اتبعك منهم فإن جهنم جزاؤكم جزاء موفورا. He said to go, and he told him just go. He told him go, and who follows you from them, then his recompense is Jahannam. His recompense is the hellfire, right? His recompense is the hellfire. And then he states that this is an ample recompense. And then we hear something about shaitan that's very, very interesting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, فَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. He says to entice whoever you can from amongst them with your voice. The voice of shaitan can entice and can throw off mankind. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues and he says, وَأَجْلِبْ عَلَيْهِمْ بِخَيْلِكَ وَرَجْلِكَ. And he said, and to assault them with your horses and your foot soldiers. This is the army of shaitan that we're talking about here. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, he continues to say something that's very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting to us. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after he mentions the army of shaitan, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَشَارِكْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ وَعِدْهُمْ. He said, and to share with them and to be partners with them in their wealth and in their children, and promise them. وَمَا يَعِدُهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. And shaitan doesn't promise except deceivingly, or deceit, or delusion, right? And but we have to understand exactly what is meant here by this wealth, but shaitan is going to be with us in our wealth and in our children. We have to be very, very careful in this situation here. And the things that we do, remember, everything that we do as Muslims, we should do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to eat with our right hand, right? Remember this, to eat with our right hand and to say Bismillah before we eat, and also to eat from right in front of you, right? This is very, very important. All of these aspects keep us away from the way of shaitan, because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to don't eat with your left hand. Indeed, shaitan eats with his left hand. When we enter our house, we enter with our right foot, and when we enter into the masjid, we enter with our right foot. Right, we enter the bathroom, we enter with our left foot. And we have to be very, very careful in these small little things that may seem petty for us, but it's of grave importance. Remember the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A very valuable hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is found in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if a person mentions the name of Allah while entering his home and while eating, the shaitan says to his followers that you will not find a place to spend the night or a place to or dinner. right? And also in this hadith, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also mentioned, he said, but if the man or if the person does not mention the name of Allah upon entering his home, then shaitan says, you have found a place to spend the night. And if he does not mention the name of Allah at the time of eating, then shaitan says, you have found a place to spend the night, and you have found a meal, or if you have found food. This is a very valuable hadith, and we do not want shaitan to eat with us. We don't want shaitan to be in our dwellings with us. So we have to be very keen on what we say. So we must say Bismillah before we enter our house, before we eat, right? And I urge and advise all brothers and sisters to please say Bismillah before you do everything in your life. Bismillah, in the name of Allah. And we end this وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر لي ولكم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.